I'm often asked about my career path. My response varies depending on whether I'm dealing with students, colleagues, or friends, but I always talk about Saltillo. I spent the spring of my junior year studying in Saltillo, Mexico, 4 hours south of the border and a world away from my suburban life in Henrietta, New York. Before college, my international experience consisted of an occasional visit to Niagara Falls and a weekend in Toronto. I enjoyed learning about different parts of the world in school, but the thought of actually going to those places never crossed my mind. Looking back, I'm struck by how naive I was, and by what a sheltered parochial life I led. A trip to Quebec with my French professor started to change that, and in January 1984 I found myself on a plane for the first time, bound for Monterey with my friend Greg. As we landed, we looked at one another as if to say, "What the hell are we doing?" Passing through customs was frightening. I had studied Spanish for 7 years, but I couldn't understand a thing. I was nervous and frustrated and wondering why I was there. After an hour's drive, we arrived in Saltillo. I knew nothing about the city or about the family we were living with. We were dropped in front of 316 Calle Zaragoza Norte. Houses in Henrietta did not look like that. I wish I'd been better prepared. I had no idea what living in another country would be like. I knew nothing about how to navigate a new culture. I didn't know enough to keep a journal. I wish I'd taken more photos. And there are so many places I wish I'd visited. That said, a lot went right. My class on Latin American literature remains one of my favorites. My language partner, Jesus Rocha, helped me tremendously, and I saw a lot of Mexico. We visited Mazatlan on the Pacific coast. We took a train to Mexico City where I saw things I'd only read about. The works of the great Mexican muralists, the sheer vastness of the city. We spent 36 hours traveling across the Yucatan to Cancun. I remember the trip seemed to take forever, and people really did bring animals on the train. I remember swimming in Cancun in crystal clear water, and that the sand was as white as chalk. And I remember buying that blue blanket at the market. I still have it at home. In Saltillo, we were more than visitors. We were members of the community. We were fans of Los Saraperos. We were regulars at Huasteca Pan in Bavaria, our happy hour refuge. The lady at Lavanderia Paloma knew us by name, as did the guys at Pepe's Pizza. I spent a lot of time there. We also became part of the Garcia family. Flor Garcia was mi mamá mexicana. We shared the house with Chuck and several Mexican students, Eduardo, Ivan, Homero, Benjamin, Gustavo, Luis, and Victor. Cece didn't live with us, but spent more time at our place than his. When Tavo found out I played basketball, he somehow got me onto his university team. I met so many people playing ball, and I learned a lot about them and about Saltillo. Saltillo was not a very picturesque place. At the time, I would much rather have gone to Spain. I've been to Spain many times since. Burgos, Toledo, Córdoba, Granada, Sevilla, and I've loved it. But Saltillo was perfect for me, and it changed my life. I developed friendships that will last a lifetime, and that experience has opened all sorts of doors for me, and is the reason that I do what I do. As we were saying our goodbyes in April, Señora Flor told me that she admired how hard I worked, and gave me one of the greatest compliments I've ever had. Tomás, tú hablas como un norteño. Thomas, you speak like someone from northern Mexico. I'll never forget that, and while I've never returned to Saltillo, the city, my friends, and my experiences will always be with me.